This is Larry the Barber Man, and today I'm at Barber Connect 2017 with Paul Taylor Clinch of Schorem. He's actually an Englishman, and he has an interesting tale to tell of how he ended up in Rotterdam at Schorem. So, Paul, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, how did you find yourself over in Schorem, Rotterdam, with those nutcases?
Like a lot of people, I was a really huge fan, and I followed their work on online for about like 2 years before. Like as soon as they started doing the YouTube videos, I was I was watching them on the way to work. So at the time I was working in Schorem Barbers in Bristol, and but on my way to work, because I lived in Cheddar, it was like 45 minutes away. So I used to watch the videos in the morning, so I'd feel like inspired for the day. And so I always really liked the work, and I liked the like how they are. It's their sort of like work ethic of work hard, play hard, but when you're working, it's gotta be great. And yeah, and one day, like I said, because I followed them so much, they did a post on Facebook, and it was the first one that I'd seen where it was completely in Dutch. And so naturally, I was curious. So I just used the Google Translator, best thing in the world, especially for me now I'm there. And it was basically saying that they were offering a position. So anyone who's watched the documentary or the DVD, Demon Don said during it, he said that to get the job, I wrote Rob an email, and I said, right, I'm the guy you're looking for. So when I wrote my CV to Lane, I thought I'd see if lightning could strike in the same place twice. So it kind of went like a nice professional CV, and then at the end of it I was like, well, I'm the guy you're looking for. And
it resonated.
Yeah, right. So it was really cool that it happened, and Lane messaged me back within an hour, I think, and he was like, cool, we want to fly out for 2 days. And we're gonna, we'll see how you get on. So it was, I was really nervous, because for me it was like meeting my heroes kind of thing. And it was cool because other people were going for the job as well. And but it was so funny because this Brazilian tourist came into the shop, and because I was just watching and looking around and helping the guys out, I wasn't really cutting or working. He said, he came up to me and we were talking, and he was like, oh, I love the shop, and my initial response was, yeah, I did it myself. I built it all, just get it all on eBay, don't worry about it, you don't need to drive nowhere. And
they was impressed by that, cheeky.
Well, Jens, I was stood next to Jens, who was one of the guys that was there really early on, and he's known Rob and Lane for like 20 years. And so he decided to tell them that I said this joke about their shop, and I was a bit like, oh, that's it. I'm not having this job then. They're going to send me home.
No, Rob would love that.
Yeah, right. And there was other people cutting throughout the day to do like an interview kind of thing. And but when it was my turn to do my 2 models, so they could see how I work, during the day it was just like the whole team was in the shop. And then when I was cutting, Rob and Len came in, so I was already nervous. And then because it was the end of the day, I had the whole team sat on the waiting bench in the middle.
Watching you.
Yeah, and I kid you not, Rob just sat on the bench in the middle, and he was just almost like squinting like this at me. I was like, oh Jesus, this is it. This is scary. And yeah, they checked through my my haircut. So I had Rob check one side and Lane check the other, and I was like, oh God, please just be right. And yeah, luckily there and then they offered me the job, and yeah, I had 2 weeks to move. So it was but it was a really thing, because it was like a big deal, because obviously living in England, and I was like, okay, right, this is the dream job.
So prior to going to Rotterdam, were you kind of like an advocate of pomps and flat tops, because that is pretty much what Schorem does?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like I was getting into the pumps, but I had no idea how the guys at the shop sort of did it. So it's so nice that we do like training with each other, because everyone, even though we do like what's on the posters, and you know that's one of the golden rules, everyone has different strengths within that, or things that they prefer doing, or little tips and tricks. So it's so amazing that we can just keep learning off each other. And but my first day, Rosal brought out a calendar this year with all the guys on it. So my first day, I got picked up from the airport by Lane, and then I had my one suitcase with like my life packed into a suitcase.
With some cans of Rosal too.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's it. That's all I needed. But because I had like 2 weeks to move, I had to live in a hostel for a month in Rotterdam, and before my apartment was ready. But I got picked up from the airport by Lane, and he's like, right, we're going to do a photo shoot today. I was like, okay, that's cool. It's probably for the website, just like the mug shot. So I was like, yeah, cool, this is going to be fun. And I get there, and the whole team is there. Gio is pretty much naked, holding these cards. And it was the first time I met Gio, and I'm walking past, and I was like, I'm not sure what kind of photo shoot this is gonna be. So I was a little bit
naked, holding cards.
Yeah,
Explain yourself.
Well, Gio on the calendar. I wish we had one. On Gio's month, September, I think, which is my birthday. So I get to see pretty much Gio's ass for my birthday this year. He's just like pretty much naked, and he's got playing cards.
On the barber's chair.
Yeah, covering himself like the showgirls kind of thing. And so I was like, okay, it's going to be weird. And the first thing Rob says to me, like I had only met him properly 2 weeks before. And he's like, cool, Paul, we need you to get naked. And
initiation program, yeah?
Pardon?
It's
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Initiation ceremony.
Yeah, so I was like, okay. So I took my shirt off, and he's like, no, naked. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm there, and I'm like, oh, this is a bit awkward, meeting everyone. He's like, no, don't worry, we've got you a dress. But I was there, I was like, I'm already done now. So yeah, my first day was the photo shoot for the Rosal calendar this year. And the next day, I was in the shop with everyone. So I had my own jacket, which to me was, you know, that was the main, that was it then. As soon as I got given
smoke.
Yeah, as soon as I got given my own one, it was like, oh, that's so nice.
So how would you say the experience of working in Schorem differs from maybe a conventional UK barbershop?
I think the beauty of it is my personal thing that I really like is because I loved the classic haircuts and the classic shapes even when I was in Bristol, and in England just before I left it started to slow down a bit. People were chopping off their pomps for like the crops and stuff, which is cool. I love the textured haircuts, but it doesn't necessarily suit everyone. Whereas the classic cuts, it doesn't matter if you're receding or, you know, they always look really good. So I was starting to say to people, you know, I'd rather we do this and it'll look a bit nicer. And at the shop, we only do what's on our posters. So I get to do the haircuts that I love to do every day.
Okay, so it was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Schorem was a perfect fit with Paul
massively.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Clinch.
Yeah. It was amazing that I could learn as well while I was there. And if Rob is around in the country, because he travels a lot, he's so open to, I'll tell you what, let's do a one-on-one, we'll get a model, and we'll just do some extra things and see what you want to do. And so, like, you know, it's amazing to have that Rob especially share his knowledge so easily and so freely. He just gives away pretty much everything, and it's amazing for me.
So day to day, putting haircuts aside, what is it like to work with the rest of the guys? Because Rob has a kind of strange Walt recruitment program going on in his mad head. Yeah,
pretty much. I think you have to be a little bit loopy to be there.
Okay.
And you know, I think they really liked the fact that, like I said, in my interview sort of process, I was telling customers that I built the shop and yeah, you know, things like that. And then one guy was like, you know, yeah, what's you know, the posters are really good, and it's like, yeah, I did that. I did all the cuts on the thing, and it's like, you know. So I think it has to be a little loopy, but we started. I love the fact that at Schorem, as opposed to a conventional shop, we face away from the mirrors.
It's kind of like an American thing as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's the beauty of that is that it almost reminds people that they're not just there for a haircut. It's like, because the lines some days are like 5-6 hours, but you'll find that some people make friends, and there's even 2 guys that I cut for a while, and they're now together because they got to talk all day in the shop, and yeah, now they're together because they had the opportunity while they're waiting for a haircut to get to know each other. So
at a very deep level, of
yeah,
course.
well, apparently. But you know, that's what it was about. You know, you go. I really believe that when you go to a shop, people will never mind the wait if everyone gets the same treatment.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and you know, it's the fact that you can just meet. You know, you meet your old friends there, and you can make new friends. And I really liked that about Schorem, that we could talk between us, because sometimes with a salon, you know, you have an island of trust. You know, when you're facing the mirror, it's an island of trust, which isn't a bad thing. But for us, it's if someone tells a joke over there, everyone is involved. Or, you know, we've started doing like joke of the day, and we generally do take the mick out of ourselves every day.
So it's all about self-deprecation as well.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Okay, and in closing, tell me a little bit about the experience after work. Because I guess there's life after work as well.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. It's one of the, it's the only shop I've worked in where, you know, usually people, you know, it's getting like 5 minutes to close and they're looking at the watch, and it's, you know, they want to go home. But even when we've done the last customer of the day, 9 times out of 10 we'll spend over an hour cleaning up, because we'll just do it really slowly so we can have a beer while we do it, and you know, we'll just talk throughout the day, and then, you know, how everyone's day was. And we generally like to chill out at the shop. You know, it's like Jelle Molma, who does all the photos. Yeah. He'll literally just pop in and help himself to a beer and sit down, and then he'll just chat for the rest of the day. Or one of the guys, Rude and Tony, that actually built the shop, really. I'm glad they never heard my joke, because they probably beat me up. But they, you know, they'll just walk in and make themselves at home and just sit down with everyone and just start conversations. So we literally, it's so much more of a hangout. Okay. Yeah, and then, but when we leave the shop, it's brilliant, because then I only hear Dutch walking around. It's amazing. That's the one thing I miss, is that you, even if you're not part of a conversation, you can understand it. And sometimes I'm like, oh, no, I have no idea what's going on around me.
Okay. Paul Clinch, thank you very much for your account on moving to Rotterdam and indeed working for Schorem.
Yeah, no
I wish
problem.
you every success, and I hope you continue to enjoy your experience and time at
so
Schorem.
much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.